Hello, everyone. On the 5th of February, there's going to be a fascinating full moon. Full moons are usually about completion, about fruition, about harvesting. Whatever we set out to do at the new moon is usually completed by the full moon in 2 weeks' time, and or it reaches a certain plateau, or it reaches some sort of energy pattern by which we can complete it or at least harvest it. But this particular full moon is fascinating, as I said, because it is a Leo full moon, and in itself the sun is in its detriment in Aquarius, while it is ruled by Uranus, which is also squaring the full moon. You're going to see it in a minute. So here it is, our sun in detriment, trying to rule the Leo moon. And also, when you take a look at any full moon, what is happening on a psychological level is this, that both luminaries are up there. They are shining light onto each other's face, so to speak. The sun is illuminating the subconscious, whatever is deep down there, but the moon is illuminating back, highlighting back into the conscious things, showing some sort of psychic or spiritual energy that normally the sun would not be able to, or would not care about, because sometimes that's the case. So let's take a look at the energy pattern of the full moon. This is for the London latitude. So, and it's happening at 18:28. Of course, this is a PM, so after 6 o'clock, 6:30, 6:28 in the evening, the sun has already set. And so this is what we can see. On the ascendant, Trans-Pluto is exactly rising, and Trans-Pluto is both channeling, but also dimension jump. So on the ascendant, it shows a space-time moment when we really are fed up with what they are trying to do to us, and we want some sort of freedom. We want to jump out of the ordinary. We want to jump out of the mundane, difficult situations that are the powers that be are pushing upon us. And on the IC, you have Scorpio as the energy pattern. So it's ruled by Pluto, which is in fact conjunct dark moon Lilith, which is the middle it's the second turning point of the Lilith myths. But on the midheaven, you have Sedna, which is still in Taurus. It is retrograding in Taurus, and this is the date. The 5th is when the Pluto-Sedna trine is truly exact to the minute. So you may have seen the energetic triangle, harmony triangle a couple of days ago. If not, I'm going to talk about that in detail. I will touch the issue here as well, but you can go back and take a look at that video. It explains the harmony triangle we have in this chart as well. What else? Well, you do have an interesting midpoint structure with the moon. If you take a closer look, Black Moon Lilith and Sedna have the moon in their midpoints. Now, it's not Sedna, Trans-Pluto, sorry. Sedna is on the midheaven, and Sedna is the creation through dissection. So it suggests that we really need to recreate our future. I just dropped that thread, and my subconscious was picking it up. But let's take a look at this midpoint structure. So Trans-Pluto is about dimension jump, and she's the strong feminine who is committed in a relationship. Of course, this is Persephone and Pluto or Hades, but at the same time, she reserves the right to go wherever she wants on her own volition. So that's what this is about. And then Black Moon Lilith is the third turning point in the Lilith myths, when Lilith goes back into the Garden of Eden because she needs to rectify the fact that Eve, the second wife, first of all, doesn't have knowledge, and also she doesn't have a soul, and that's why she needs to go back from a place which she voluntarily left behind. because she didn't want to accept the humiliation that Yahweh was putting on the first woman. So that's an interesting midpoint structure. Then you may realize that the Jupiter-Juno conjunction is of course separating. It's not really a conjunction anymore, but Juno is now conjunct Chiron. So all sorts of relationship issues that are painful may resurface during this period. And the Vesta Astrea conjunction, which will be there all year, is at the very last degrees of Pisces. And of course, there is also a Pluto dark moon Lilith conjunction. Dark moon is really at the very, very end of Capricorn, truly anoretic. It's like 39 degrees 58 or something like that. And they are loosely conjunct the vertex. Vertex is the point where you don't have any free will, any free choice, where you need to suffer whatever is there for you. So those are the highlights of this chart. Let's take a look at the fixed T-square with Sun, Moon, and Uranus. It is, of course, a fixed T-square. And as I said, what is unique about this is that the fact that the Sun is in detriment, Uranus is ruling this detriment Sun, and in reality, the Sun actually wants to rule, and it is ruling the Moon. So it's like, I rule you, you rule me, and I am in detriment. So something like that. And the T-square, of course, provides us with ample tension. Uranus is always about change and also about chaos and anarchy. And the full moon in itself could be disruptive enough. Think about all the bad stuff that is happening during the full moon. People go crazy, and this is really a crazy fixed square new full moon with Uranus there. Here are the transcendental objects. The moon doesn't have anything. It simply is not prominent at that moment. She is simply in Leo, so she obviously can shine. But the Sun has Archimedes, the inventor who all of a sudden, the mathematician who all of a sudden realizes something. So it is the idea of Eureka, coming out of your ideas, understanding something all of a sudden, realizing something. And don't forget that the Sun Moon opposition is always illuminating. So, and of course the comet, the green comet, is still very visible. Although don't try to look at it today on the 5th, because of the full moon, there is a huge light pollution, so you won't be able to see it most probably. But still, the fact remains that these are illuminating times. And of course, Archimedes gives us another perspective, the perspective of uncovering something, realizing something. Chaldea, of course, is the Chaldean priest who did the same for 3,000 years. They examined the sky, they observed the celestial phenomena, and they were trying to assess what it all meant. And then Rotanev, which is Beta dolphin, so the Beta star, the celestial dolphin, again puts this into a perspective, because the whole constellation of the dolphin is linked to Atlantis in many ways. The Alpha star Solacin is the main healing word for Atlantean karma, which is a label I don't like to use lightly, because people usually misunderstand it. It's very, very hard to explain to a client. It simply means that we had to destroy our paradise, because Atlantis was a paradise, and it was before the axis of the earth got tilted, and after the cataclysm it became a completely different reality that crashed upon us, and all of a sudden we had the winter, we had the barren months, cold and barren months, and we needed to feed ourselves and need to realize it with hard work how to take care of ourselves. So there's a before and after energy here. And Rotanev is the second healing world. It shows, usually when it's prominent, it shows the negative aspects of Atlantean karma, whereas Solacin simply means that I feel responsible and I want to heal. But again, it's on the sun. So something, if we think about it logically, if you look at the Ukrainian war, both parties are constantly playing with weapons, all kinds of weapons. Also, the atomic bomb has been waived as a potential. And Rotanev is trying to really tell us, please don't make the same mistake again. Once we already ruined this planet, maybe many times, but definitely during Atlantis, the last period of Atlantis. And we need to try to at least not make the same mistake again. That's what Rotanev is suggesting to us. And on Uranus, you have Pan, which is the which means two things: terrible fear, scare, fright, terror, and also Pan means everything. So sometimes when you have a terrible fear, you are able to do huge, enormous things, enormous achievements. Yeah, this is such one space-time moment, actually. And the two stars which have been there with Uranus, Menkar and Almach are still there, suggesting both ideas coming out of the celestial veil surfacing, and also Almach, which symbolizes Cassiopeia, the queen who is too vain and too stuck up with her own beauty, not to realizing that she's trying to ruin her own country and her husband's kingship. And there is a 10th mini trapeze at the degrees of 12 to 11, 12, 13. This is a trapeze. Don't forget that trapezes are always about stepping up onto a stage and giving out, producing what's in you, showing the world what you know, understanding something that you want to share with the world. And this trapeze is really like a platform. It's not a true trapeze. It's just a flat platform, because the sides are semi-sextile, so it's very easy to step on top of them. The trine is the base between Venus and Pallas Athena, and the inside is made up by two squares. That's why it's a 10th mini trapeze. And one square is the Mars-Venus mutable square, suggesting that, again, there will be some strife between man and woman, between the feminine and the masculine. Of course, it could be a domestic strife. It could be otherwise. It could also mean war versus money or well-being. It could have many connotations. It's a mutable square. And it is kind of dissolved by the top of this platform, the sextile between Chiron, Juno on the one hand, and Mars on the other hand. And the other square is between Pallas Athena and Juno. So you have three strong feminine archetypes: Venus, the goddess of love; Juno, the goddess of commitment and committed relationships; and Pallas Athena, the single woman who wants to become and remain a virgin. And those are involved with Chiron, which is always about karmic wounds, and of course Mars, which is the masculine energy, both squaring Venus and at the same time sextiling Juno, Chiron. So that's the platform. So it probably carries more strife and also some domestic problems. I'll put it this way. Here are the transcendental objects. On Venus, you have justice, Justitia, one of the cardinal virtues, okay, justice. And then on Mars, you have wisdom. And on Pallas Athena, denoting wisdom, you have a fixed star Mapshuta, which is Epsilon Gemini, and it is Castor's knee. Now, anything linked to the knee has two meanings. It is linked to self-assessment, how you carry yourself, and also how you bend your knee. So it is both humiliation or being humble, but at the same time knowing your own worth, and that is expressed by Mapshuta. And on Chiron, Juno, you have Horemheb, an archetype that symbolizes almost impossible rise in status, because Horemheb used to be a slave who was elevated into a general, and then he became the pharaoh after Tutankhamun's death. So it is elevation, being elevated solely for your own abilities, your own capacities. Cybele is a goddess, a strong goddess energy. Nemesis, she was the punisher of hubris, and hubris denotes revolt against the gods' wishes. So Nemesis is the punisher energy. And then Alderamin is Alpha Cepheus. It has been there with Chiron for a long time, and still will be for a couple of days or weeks. So it's not changing anything. And here's the harmony triangle, which you can watch in a separate video. What is here interesting are two things, because almost everything is the same. But this is the space-time moment, actually, on the 5th, where the Pluto-Sedna trine is there, exact. So this is the first true exact trine. You might remember that last year they became 1 minute from exactness, 1 minute. And I was really hoping that the square is going to be there somewhere around 27 degrees. This, unfortunately, is an anaretic trine. So the very first trine between these two archetypes is anaretic, which means that the transformation, it signifies, of course, Pluto is power and transformation, and Sedna is creation through dissection. And it's going to be huge next year when the two celestial bodies move into an air sign and the trine is repeated, because this year there will be another one, but also in anaretic earth signs. But so still we have this transitory year before actually the new things can set in. And I really hope that this woke, idiotic, horrible, idiotic thing that we see in the United States and in the Western countries will cease to exist, and we will have a new era where humankind and human beings are important and not ideas. I really hope for that. At the same time, and our monetary system can also be broken and reset. And I'm just hoping that it's not going to be a completely electronic money, because if you take away cash from people, that is slavery. That is complete slavery. So, and you see it in China. In China, you no longer can have savings. You have to spend your earnings in that month. You can't actually roll it over. Think about that. No savings. Anyhow, I really hope that we are going to be able to revolt against it. So the other thing that you have here is dark moon conjunct Pluto, which is at the very, very last digits of Capricorn. And on dark moon Lilith, you have Melpomene and Amor. Amor, of course, is love, and Melpomene is tragedy. So that all the rest have been there. So I'm not going to enumerate it for you, because you can watch the complete video on this particular harmony triangle. And this is a difficult full moon. It is full of strife, full of conflict, full of who owns whom, who rules whom. I rule you, you rule him, he rules you, vice versa. I'm in exile, but I still want to rule. It's a very complicated pattern and very tense. But we can make the best of it, as usual, with every or any astrological placement. Thank you for listening, and happy full moon. Bye-bye.